there's still some classic BMW left. While most of BMW's range is moving towards new design languages and large crossovers, the new BMW 230i is here for the purists. It avoids the massive grilles and larger bodies of other new BMWs, combining the best of the new BMW with the classic 2 Series that drivers know and love. The BMW 230i is a ton of fun to drive, looks awesome in new and old colors, and makes a serious case for itself as the compact coupe to beat. Now, of course, there are a few different 2 Series cars in the US. Interestingly, they're pretty much unrelated. We're reviewing the 2-door coupe. Thanks for watching this video, and please hit the like button and subscribe if it was helpful to you.
The 2022 BMW 230i proves that BMW hasn't completely forgotten about its past. It looks like the BMWs that you've come to love over the past few years. But there's still a lot about the car that's new. For starters, the car is built on the same platform as the 3 Series and 4 Series, and the result is that it's a little longer than the 2021 model. It's also quite a bit heavier and 2.6 inches wider, which actually helps make it look a little meaner. The front of the car looks excellent. It's got the classic BMW kidney grille, avoiding the oversized grilles used in new BMWs like the new 4 Series. I really like the look of the grille on this car. I'm still getting used to the new grille on other cars. The 230i generally looks very sleek, with nicely curved lines and a long hood at the front. The added length also means there's a slightly longer trunk, which helps make it a little more practical. On the back, you'll get a nice subtle spoiler with dual exhaust tips, which again, look great. This car has the M Sport package, which gives it a slightly different side grille design at the front and a sportier wheel design. I've got the 19-inch M double spoke wheels, which I really like. The BMW 230i may be a little bigger than previous models, but generally it looks sporty and sleek. I find that the changes to the car are good ones.
The interior of the car is much more similar to other new BMWs, but that's a good thing. I love the interior of new BMWs, from the premium stitched leather to the easy-to-use controls. The car also offers things like 3-zone automatic climate control, so those in the rear seat can make their own climate decisions. Speaking of rear passengers, there is some room in the rear seat for them. According to BMW, the 2022 230i has a little more room for rear seat passengers than the 2021 model, and I do believe it. That said, the car still isn't really built to take more than 2 people long distances. I'm 5'11", and I was able to sit in the back seat perfectly fine, but I wasn't really able to move much. Back up at the front, you'll get things like a wireless charger for one person, and BMW's typical controls like a joystick shifter and drive mode buttons. There's also a relatively deep storage compartment, and seats are heated, though they're not cooled. The middle of the back seat can fold down, which can really come in handy. It means that you can thread through things like your golf clubs or skis without impacting the room of the 2 back seats. It's especially handy given the fact that while there's enough room in the trunk for day-to-day use, there isn't really a ton. The trunk offers 10 cubic feet of space. Generally, I find the interior of the BMW 230i to be comfortable and premium, but that's not really a surprise.
The BMW 230i comes standard with an 8.8-inch infotainment display and an analog instrument cluster. You can, however, upgrade to a 10.3-inch display and a 12.3-inch digital instrument cluster, which may be worth it for some drivers. The infotainment system is not built on BMW's new iDrive 8 interface. Instead, the car gets the older iDrive 7. That's not a huge issue. The car system is still relatively easy to navigate, and it supports both Android Auto and CarPlay, both through a wireless connection. Generally, the screen is bright and crisp, and the interface was relatively responsive, thankfully. The digital instrument cluster, I think, is a worthy upgrade. It allows drivers to tweak the information they'll see at any given moment, and it adds things like mapping information. There's an optional heads-up display too, which can also show your speed, upcoming bumpy roads, and more. It definitely comes in handy, but I find the heads-up display to be less enticing as an upgrade than the digital instrument cluster. Generally, the iDrive 7 interface is easy to get used to. It's not going to blow any of the competition out of the water, and I would rely on CarPlay or Android Auto if possible. but it still works perfectly fine. The BMW 230i is a driver's car, and as a result it offers less in the way of smart driver assist features than some of BMW's larger and more expensive cars. The car does offer a lane keeping assistant, which kicked in once or twice while I had the car, and there's obviously a basic cruise control. On top of that, you'll get a front collision warning and a 360-degree sensor view when parking, though it's not camera based. If you're looking for something with more autonomous features, it's worth looking elsewhere. The 2022 230i is bigger and heavier than its predecessor, but thankfully it's still nimble and sporty and an absolute blast to drive. 230i is a rear-wheel drive with a 2-litre
i4 engine and an 8-speed automatic transmission. Unlike previous years, there's no manual option here. Upgrade to the M240i and you'll get the 6-cylinder engine with a little more grunt, but I don't really think most people need it. The 230i is still plenty quick and a lot of fun to drive. I found that the car is easy to handle and very tight around corners. The suspension is a little stiff, but still well tuned and boasts a smooth ride that allows you to feel close to the road. The engine isn't necessarily as aggressive as the M240i or some other options out there, but it still offers a little more oomph than you would expect. In fact, it'll get you from 0 to 60 in just over 4 seconds, which is pretty quick. Basically, the car is sporty and fun, and while it's not quite on par with the M240i in terms of performance, it's still more than fast enough for day-to-day driving, and most people will appreciate what it has to offer. That's not to mention the fact that it strikes a better balance between performance and comfort, which makes it a better option for some.
The 2022 BMW 230i is a worthy continuation of the 2 Series. It adds some modern features that improve the comfort and driving experience while retaining the basics that make it a 2 Series. Sure, you can't get it with a manual transmission anymore, and it's a little bigger than previous models, but the car is still sporty and fun and serves as an excellent option for those that want a sports car to drive day to day.